And now let me introduce our speaker today, Dr. Danelia. Dr. Nana Danelia completed her PhD from Tbilisi State University in Linguistics, specifically Medieval Georgian and Morphology or Grammar. She has over 2 decades experience developing various programs and curricula for the Faculty of Humanities and in conducting lectures and trainings at Tbilisi State University, as well as designing and facilitating programs for Georgian language summer schools and workshops. It's no surprise that she's the author of 24 scientific research articles, publications, and books, including the book Basic Georgian, that many first-time Georgian learners consider to be the most accessible. Over the years, she has worked at Tbilisi State University, the Georgian Ministry of Education and Science, the Georgian Institute of Public Affairs, or GIPA, the European School of Management, the U.S. Embassy, USAID, as well as the Indiana University Summer Workshop in Slavic, East European, and Central Asian languages, also known as SWISL. She was also the recipient of the Young Scholars Fellowship from 2002 to 2005 that's awarded by the Georgian president. She is currently the program advisor in World Vision International Global Center Faith and Development and continues to teach Georgian as a second language. Dr. Danelia, please take it away.
Well, you gave very, very detailed overview. Oh, thank you for that, for my introduction. Okay, it's really my pleasure to be here. Thank you all for your time joining this call. And let me start sharing my screen just to take you briefly about Georgian language through time. This is how I entitled this presentation. Let me put this one moment on the presentation. So you all see that, I hope. Okay.
Yes,
thank you. So I will take you through the presentation, and if any questions comes during the presentation, please just jot down, and at the end we will have chance to respond and to discuss and to bring those issues. So let me start with just very brief statistics and about location where Georgia is situated. And then I will explore more specifically about language and unique parts of the Georgian language. So as you see on the map, we are in the border of Georgia situated at the dividing line of Asia and Europe, bordered with the Russian Federation on the north, Turkey and Armenia on the south, east in the east Azerbaijan, and on the west side it's Black Sea. Georgian culture actually has the both traces from Asian and European, but according to our kind of mentality or nature, we always were striving to the European, to be part of European family. So about this statistic, as you see, Georgia is a very small country, 3.7 million people. And when I travel or have some kind of work doing worldwide or in different countries, when I say that my country has 3.7 million people, it's sometimes, oh, it's a village size, depending in, in other continents, in big countries. So anyway, the country is small and mainly population 86%, as you see in the statistics, are Georgian, but we have also some portion of Azeri and Armenian population inhabited in the border in the region Samtskhe-Javakheti near Armenia and Kvemo-Kartli Azerbaijani population. We have 2 breakaway regions, South Ossetia and Sukhumi, and Abkhazia, sorry, so South Ossetia and Abkhazia. We can explore more about the language policies and situations about that later on. Religion is Christianity, 88%, and Georgians are associated with the Orthodox Christianity. So if you are Georgian, Christianity, let's say religion is very much connected to the identity and nationality. If you are Georgian, it's assumed that you are Orthodox Christian, which on the other side could be a little bit issue, for minority religious rights and intolerance. We have other faith representatives, mainly Islam, 10%, but mainly those are Azerbaijani population, and small percentage of Georgians living on the Mountain Ajara on the border of Turkey, historical influence as well. Yeah, that's just brief statistics. Now, how did Georgian get its name? Let's talk a little bit about the etymology. We call ourselves Kartvelebi. Our land is Sakartvelo, which means land of Kartvelians, and Georgian language is Kartuli Ena. The term was derived from the core central Georgian region of Kartli, where Tbilisi is situated. And this term is recorded from the 9th century. And later on, it was referring the entire medieval kingdom of Georgia, mainly by 13th century. It is believed that the name, the country's name derived from Persian or Arabic name of Georgians, Gurj. Turks still call us Gurj, Gurjistan is the Georgia, which means wolf. And this term then reached the Western Europe through the Crusaders and pilgrims. It's possible that the term derives from the helmet made of wolf's head, which was worn by the first Georgian king, Vahdan Gorbatsali, who is the founder of the capital city, Tbilisi, who were fighting against the invading Persians. But it's just, it's one of the opinion. It also could be possible that the term originates from once held Persian belief that pre-Christian Georgians worshipped the cult of wolves, or might mean just land of wolves. So the true origin of the name is still debatable and unknown. Another legend tells that term is derived from connected to the biblical personage, Japhet, whose grandson was Kartlos. And Kartlos is considered as a father of all Georgians, so connected to the biblical person. But yeah, again, that's just legends and few views about the origin. And you see how Georgian script is written, contemporary script. I will talk more about this. Few unique aspects of Georgian language. So I want to start with this quote: "He who learns a new language acquires a new soul." I always start my Georgian classes with this kind of justification why to learn new language and why new language has its more than communication means, right? So in a sense, this quote actually implies that language is more than communication skill and that you can travel easily, but also it's more a kind of vehicle for personal growth, or a vehicle to understand deeper and better the culture and soul of the people. And when you learn a new language, you gain access to this new world and new way of understanding things, worldviews, expressing ideas, and which in turn broadens our horizon, right? And that's really what happens through the process when you start Georgian language studies, because through derivation or through this grammatical rules, you somehow understand how the ideas, thoughts are conceptualized, or how those concepts are translated. So anything, I mean, I wanted to bring this fascinating part of the language as well when you start deeper diving into learning in Georgian. So a few unique aspects. Let me bring this list here, and I will be unpacking this through the coming slides. Alphabet, this is unique and one of the oldest in the world, and largely unchanged for over the millennium. It was said earlier when I was studying that there is only 14 alphabets in the world, and one of them is Georgian. So number is more now, scientists say, but yeah, definitely Georgian alphabet is really ancient. Agglutinative structure, which means that words are formed by adding suffixes to the root, and that makes Georgian grammar really complex, but also that allows high degree of flexibility and expressiveness, which means that in one word you can put 3 or 4 words if you want to translate it into English. Phonetics, the adjective consonants, which are pronounced hardly, or let's say with a burst of air from the glottis, and this is very specific for this language. Verbal system, and especially ergativity. Ergativity means ergative case is the same nominative. Sometimes it's called second nominative. And in Georgian, verb is really important, and everything is designed around the verb. And noun could have 3 cases: nominative, ergative, dative. So it's ergative structure, which is oldest. Oldest languages keep this ergativity and ergative construction. Prepositional language, when you, instead of preposition, you put in Georgian add-ons to the nouns. I also want to underline that uniqueness of Georgia is the literary tradition, because Georgia has a rich literary tradition which dates back to 5th century AD. So first known Georgian literary work is Martyrdom of Holy Queen Shushanik, which is dating back to 476, 483. So in the 5th century, or before that, there is some findings, inscriptions on the church stones, but also this literary story. The most famous Georgian poem is, which I want to mention, is A Night in the Painter's Skin, Straussani. Literally, this means the one with the skin of tiger painter, which was written in the 12th century by Shota Rustaveli. So this name you will meet everywhere, because Shota Rustaveli is considered to be one of the most important representative of the medieval world literature. And for Georgians, this book, the Straussani, is kind of gospel, kind of Bible, which keeps this universal values and truths, which is unchanged over the centuries, and as humanity exists. So this poem is really, really important, and every family has it. And that was the tradition that when girl was married someone or something, the Webgestraußanie was the one of the important thing to give by the family. So yeah, so and another point is about multilingualism, which means that in Georgia is multilingual country with speakers of Georgian, Armenian, Azeri, Ukrainian, English, Russian. And nowadays you can hear Turkish, Iranian, Indian as well. As we have students living and coming from those countries. So as you will be staying and walking through the Tbilisi streets, you might hear you might meet all people and hear those other languages as well. Okay, let me explore now where Georgian language belongs. It's not Indo-European language, maybe pre-Kartvelian. There is one opinion as well, pre-Kartvelian connected with pre-Indo-European, but it's clustered together with Caucasian languages. So in Caucasian languages, we have 4 areal groups. This is Kartvelian languages, which includes Georgian, Mingrelian, Laz, and Svan. Abkhaz-Adyghe-Kabardian languages spoken in the North Caucasus, Nakh languages spoken in North Central Caucasus, and it includes Chechen, Ingush, Avar, and Itsekh. So you read those languages. One of the scientists was saying that Caucasia is the mountain of languages. And Dagestanian languages. So I need to give more information about Kartvelian languages. As you see, we have here separately Georgian, which is main language now spoken by 3 million speakers. Mingrelian, approximately 300,000 to 500,000 speakers, and this is western part of Georgia. We have region Mingrelia. Laz or Chan, it depends, scientists call in different terms, so I give both terms. Mainly Laz and Chan, it's used in territory of Turkey, where those Georgia part where there is this Asian Georgia part, and they inhabiting this Laz and Chan people and Georgians as well, and they keep this dialect, but very small amount, as you see, and few speakers in Achara region as well. Mingrelian and Laz Chan, they are very close, and they are considered as 2 dialects of one language, and scientists call that Kolkhuri or Zanuri. And another one is Svan language, which around 3,000, 40,000 speakers on the mountain region of Georgia. So there is debates that the Mingrelian Laz Svan considered as a dialects of Georgia, but historically, if we see those are dialects from Proto-Kartvelian, definitely. But in terms of definition, what is language and what is dialect, we could not say that Svan, Mingrelian, Laz is the dialect of Georgian nowadays, because you need to learn. You could not hear easily what Mingrelians are saying or what Svan are saying. And I will show you reconstructing the roots, how close the connectedness between those, but still, as you see in that chart, you see the formation of those languages. So in the earliest stage, Swan was divided. So it is believed that Mingrelian and Laz was separated in the first millennium before Christ, based on degree of changes. The linguists assume that earliest split with this Swan could occur in second millennium before Christ or earlier. So is so let me show you how much connected those languages are. For example, in Georgian, if I take one word, sma, which is brother, in Mingrelian, it will sound shima. And in other words also, z goes into j. It's not only with this word, in other words also. If, for example, tsagli is dog, jogori will be in Mingrelian, z, j. I speak a little bit Mingrelian, I know this because I'm from origin from that part. And I was learning as well, both Mingrelian and Swan at the university. So, z goes into j. You have vowel here, and as you see, difference between Mingrelian and Laz, it's just vowels, jima, juma, and Swan is more far, as you see in the Jamil. So, for linguists to know all these three languages is really important to understand or reconstruct some roots, and for etymology or for the grammatical structures. And actually Mingrelian and Swan has more complicated and more complex grammar than Georgian for today. Yes. In terms of dialects, Georgia has dialects based on the regions. As you see in that map, country is divided into regions: Achara, Guria, Imereti, Kartli, Samegrelo. But in Samegrelo, you have Mingrelian language, let's say. But in other parts, and Svaneti you see on the top, you have Svan language there. But in other parts, it's just dialect. A dialect, it's the same Georgian, but each dialect might have unique features in terms of phonology. I mean, there could be different vowels to be used, morphology, syntax, vocabulary, and mainly unique intonation. So if you are Georgian, you definitely will guess from which region person comes. We also have, even if you are Georgian, you can guess from which district. If you live in the Tbilisi, you know, each district has their own vocabulary and kind of way of intonation. It's really challenging for outsider, but if you ask me, I can guess exactly from which kind of region or part this person comes. Outside Georgia, we have 3 dialects heavily influenced by those languages where the Georgian community lives. This is Ingilo dialect spoken in Azerbaijan, where this Georgian community lives. Imerchevian dialect. This is the territory of Turkey, and Fereidan dialect. This is spoken today in Iran, which has Persian influence, and those are descendants of Kakhetians who were deported there in the 17th century by the Persian invader and ruler, which means that from 17th century they kept the language and it's spoken even today, but it's heavily influenced from Iranian So it's considered as a Fereidan dialect. And Fereidan Kartvelebi, Fereidan Georgians, they are called. Let's move to the Georgian alphabet and script. You see the letters. This is how we write them, how it looks like today. I can read just for hearing, maybe. A, B, G, D, E, V, Z, T, I, K, L, M, N, O, P, J, R, S, T, U, P, K, R, E, Š, Č, C, Z, C, J, H, J, H. Oh, you see at the end, such a Georgian consonants. So we have 5 vowels, 28 consonants. Georgian alphabet is used currently for writing all Kartvelian languages. This is the main. I include also here YouTube links where you can explore by yourself and listen how to reading this alphabet and other, just searching for other more in-depth information if you need. So that's what I showed is the contemporary alphabet. But Georgian has 3 alphabets. This ancient, let's say, Asomtavruli or Mrglovani, because it had rounded shape, which was used in the from 5th century till 9th. Nuskhuri, which is the continuation, next phase of the Asomtavruli, used from 9th century, 9th, 11th century, and Hedruli, secular military writing. This is the modern alphabet, which I showed you. So you see in the picture 5th century plate from Polnisi, which is one of the oldest forms of Georgian alphabet. Those are the examples. That one is the curly decorative writing, and this in the middle, this is Mrglovani, first, oldest, and then comes this Nuskhuri, and this is contemporary, but with different shapes. The living culture of 3 writing systems of Georgian alphabet was granted the national status of intangible cultural heritage in Georgia from UNESCO. So that's really unique, unique and interesting part. There was some, there is some kind of promotion that, and the scientists were used to do that using these old Asomtavruli letters as a capital letters, you know, just keeping this tradition and not losing that, because contemporary children, even me, I was studying that, but we are not fluent to read this first and second alphabets. We only know this contemporary. But if you go in the churches and you see that the icons in the churches, they use mostly this old letters, old alphabet, because church keeps the old Georgian in their services, in their books. So that tries to keep that tradition. This is the just same picture, you know, first Asomtavruli, Nuskhuri, Hedruli, how to read in English, and numbers, because numbers in the old Georgian, letters were used for numbering. And by the way, Georgian uses based on 20 counting system, which means that in English, you say you count by tens, right? 10, 20, 30. So in Georgia, for example, 31 will be 20 plus 11. So counting system is by 20. I think French has the same counting system. But yeah, again, amongst scholars, some suggest that Georgian alphabet was derived from Phoenician, Semitic Aramaic origin. And it's connecting to the shape of the letter. It's originated from 7th century before Christ. This is Ivane Javakhishvili, the famous scholar, historian, whose opinion is that. However, majority of researchers consider that Greek alphabet served as a basis for the Georgian alphabet, which we use now. And you see that the word order follows the Georgian Greek alphabet, and very specific Georgian glottis, I mean, abruptive consonants are at the end. So, the influence of Greek would be considered from 5th century AD, but on the other side, it is unlikely that the Georgian alphabet first appeared in the 5th century, because we already in the 5th century, we have this literary, long established, highly developed written literary culture, right? According to Javakhishvili, the Greek alphabet itself was created in the same manner. Letters designating specifically Greek sounds were added at the end, and it has influence from Semitic alphabet. So yeah, again, right? If you go deeper, some letters and shapes are connected to the ancient Phoenician Aramaic alphabet, which some connected to the BC 7th century. Yes, just connecting to these old alphabets, literary history, Georgian language also has gone significant changes over time, right? So we divide Georgian literary writings by Old Georgian, Middle Georgian, and Modern Georgian, because there is difference in terms of phonology, grammar, and structure of sentences, grammar, some letters as well. In these previous slides, you have we had here some old letters, which is not kept in the contemporary alphabet. For example, number 15, Yota, or number 8, He. So 5 letters from old medieval Georgian was discarded, let's say. Right, so modern Georgia emerged from 17th century and characterized with further simplification of inflectional system, new grammatical constructions. Now back to Georgian language, what is easy, because up to now I was saying how unique, how complex, how complicated it is to learn Georgian language, and what's easy with it. Well, we don't have capital letters, and contemporary writing, as you see, it has 4 sides: below the line or above the line, shorter, and few letters, which is long. But we don't use capital letters. Each letter denotes a single sound. So whatever you write, you read it. It's not like English, French, you know, many letters, and you should figure out how to read that, right? No diphthongs, no articles, and no grammatical gender. Even pronouns are gender neutral. So you will notice, Georgians, when we speak in English, we always make this type of mistakes. I always should think he or she, or I mess up often, you know, you put thinking for that because we don't have gender using this pronouns. And right, also this one marker explains one function, which is also easy for learning. To go deeper with these phonetics and verb and these unique parts, I said that we have adjective consonants, and I want to pronounce some of them, like p, p, p. In English, you have one letter for that, and I always do some exercises to hear difference between p, p, t, t, or z, 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 k. So those are ch. Those are the consonant, which is very specific, and you need some specific 2 letters or some markers to express clearly in English how to pronounce those letters. We have some formidable consonant clusters. So main structure of the word is consonant, 1, 2, 3, vowel and consonants. Verb construction is the same, also follows this structure. But there is, not all words are like this. I'm here bringing 5 and 6 consonants in row, but it's just for fun, right? Like Vni, which has 6 consonants in the beginning and only 1 vowel. I peel it. Or Tneli, this is trainer. Someone is plucking us. It's funny, but yeah, you have the 8 consonants and 1 vowel. But don't be afraid, it's not common, just it happens with few words. Verbal system. What I want to bring here for your attention is the construction, 3 main construction. So I am bringing here the example in Georgian. Bici tsers tsiknes. Boy is writing the book. So in present or future tense, you have verb which needs specific case for subject and object. So those are the structures which you should follow. So first you think which verb you are using. Is it transitive verb? Is it passive verb, medial verb? And after that, you know the cases of subject and object. I bring only one example of transitive verb, when you have direct object, when your action goes directly to the object. So in this case, subject in present future tense is in nominative. In the past, you should use ergative, another type of nominative. And this is the Asian structure, which is only in Caucasian languages. And in present perfect or pluperfect, you use subject in dative case. Also, word order in the sentence is not strict because you have specific cases for everything. So if you say verb, subject, object, it's clear still which one is the subject, because it's never repeated, right? Also, if you use only verb, that's also enough, because verb has inside everything, every marker. And by the verb, you know it's first person or third person or plural or whoever is speaking. So, for example, avak eteb or gaak eteps, verb is to do verb. You have here preverb you have first person marker, a radical vowel. Radical vowel means that it's clear for me, I'm doing, or for you. At is the root, and then comes present future stem format, which you only have in the present and future. If you don't have that, it's past tense. So actually, to say in short, verb is constructed in a way that you have all information within the verb, and you build then based on verb all structure. And agglutinative structure again, tavarek inep. So in eb, those affixes already give this notion that this is, I will make him or her to call. So as you see, you need 5 or 4 words in English to express what is written in one verb. And you don't need pronouns here. It's clear that I will. And it's clear that I will make him because you have marker everything in that. Yeah. About nominal system, we have 7 case. Oh, I should be quick little bit. I don't want to miss some important information, other slides. Yeah. So we have 7 cases. All nouns, what is interesting about noun, ends on vowel in nominative case. So which means that even if you have name, for example, Nick or Tallinn in English, right? In Georgian, you need to add nominative E. It will be Tallini, Niki, and every word ends on vowel. Either this vowel is root or it's nominative marker E. Word building, this is really, really interesting part because word building creates flexibility to compose new words, and sometimes it's really gives you etymology of the word. For example, you see Orsuli, which means pregnant, and literally this means 2 souls, or Tavisupali, free. It means if you divide this into words, this is when you are Lord of yourself. So this type of world building enriches the language, but also gives you quite a deeper understanding what's the root meaning, or how, you know, nicely said sometimes and nicely done this compound. Quickly to share about some foreign language traces in Georgian vocabulary. Throughout the history, Georgian has been influenced through invaders, let's say, whoever was invading and had influence over Georgia. So through centuries, you see that Persian had significant influence on vocabulary, especially in the field of literature, science, religion, because the Iranians ruled over centuries on Georgian. Then comes Arabic influence from 7th century, especially in influence on religious context. Ottoman Turkish, and some we use some words now in Georgian, even people don't know that it enters from Turkish language, like saati, which means watch or clock or hour, panjara, window, and these everyday words were entered from Turkish. Russian has this significant influence since 19th century, when Georgia became part of the Russian Empire. Words have entered in many fields, let's say science, technology, politics, And English influence is quite notable and strong nowadays, especially in business education. We use like sensitiuri, collaboratia, inspiratia, emergency. You will guess, I don't need to translate, but we Georgianized those international English words there. Well, I think 2 more slides, which I have and I want to share what kind of linguistic changes happened in post-Soviet Georgia, because Russian influence was really strong. And reason of that was that Russian was taught in all grades in Georgian schools. All themes were in Russian except Georgian. Also, the parents were sending their children in Russian schools in order to ensure their social position in the future. So quite strong influence. Even special literature for higher education or at school were translated from Russians, and because of a centralized education system. And for example, history school books, we were studying only Russian history, and Georgia's history were included like a small portion along with the information of other Soviet republics. And it was extracurricular. So it was quite a strong influence. And after Soviet collapse, a campaign has launched to purify the Georgian language of Russian words and constructions. Influence of Russian is still visible, and still left traces, especially using this in stylistics and on vocabulary. Russian calques are used especially in the printed press, radio, or television. But again, yeah, there is quite strong direction to keep the purity of Georgian language. Nowadays, Russian lost its dominating privileged character, but still it's still in the school curricula, but no longer holds prestige. Students today are not really interested to study Russian, and mainly English becomes the main language, and young generation does not speak Russian at all. Renaming streets, squares, cities, villages, that's place names have been changed both during the Soviet government and after post-Soviet authorities. And that's also a reflection of the politics. We have, for example, George Bush Street, or, this Aliyev embankment because of good neighboring collaboration with Azerbaijani, etc. Changing surnames, especially surname endings. It was common, for example, during the Soviet, that Assyrians, Greek, Azerbaijani, Armenians living in Georgia, they were changing their surnames, moving to the ov ending. But the process took back. Now they are reconstructing their original surnames. Changing alphabet at different periods. That's also reflects changes in political orientation. For example, first book in Ossetian, which was published, was written in Georgian alphabet. Then it's changed many times. And today, for example, some people are turning away from Cyrillic. For example, Azerbaijanis now use Latin script, like Turks, or Assyrians and Kurds living in Georgia they were using Cyrillic, and they are now back to their ancient alphabet and Latin script. But Ossetia and Abkhaz, they still use Cyrillic script, which is a reflection of the current political orientation and situation. That's obvious. So if you will be attentive to the signs, you will not see anything Russian anymore, and everything is only in Georgia and in English. So main directions now is that mostly these policies, contemporary policies, mostly focuses on regulating official use of Georgian language and Georgia's protection, because influences always could be any language, right? Whatever. If there is a campaign purification from Russian, it's also the campaign that how wisely use and how you put borders when other Latin or international words are entering in the language. And second is integration of national minorities within the Georgia society, teaching the state language in new national education system and observing their rights to use their own language. So Georgian government started a large-scale campaign in peripheral regions, especially where this Azerbaijani Armenian population lives, the Samtkhejavakheti and Kremokhatli, teaching the state language in the new national school systems. And even older population, because they don't know Georgian well. I was part of those initiative and projects, which was really great movement to encourage and to help this population become the active citizen of the society, because you need to know this national state language. But at the same time, state takes the responsibility to help ethnic minorities maintain their language, cultural and religious identities. Critical problem still for Georgia is breakaway territories of Abkhazia, South Ossetia, occupied by Russia, and returning Georgian population there, restoring Georgian language rights there. Those should be very sensitive and integral part of the process. Okay, I think the main content I already covered. I have a few slides about phrases which I was asked to put for you. I call this survival Georgian. When you will be here in Georgia, you might need some main phrases, and for your convenience, you can go and refer to the slides and learn some phrases to please local population, local people right here. So Gamarjoba is the hello, which means victory. So it's quite a good reflection of the history. Georgians were fighting whole life against the enemy, and so victory was really important. So hi is like a victory, Gamarjoba. Nachvamdis, this is goodbye. Till seeing you. Gmadlobt, this is thank you. Comes from madli, grace. So have a grace. Didi madloba, two options, which is big thank. Ara, please, for nothing. Bodishi, excuse me, ugatsravat, ara ushavs, no problem. I don't know if I want to go through that because it has also English variation, how you should read that. So you need diach ki, which means yes, ara, no, rogorachar, how are you, argat gmadlob. You will be always asked saidanchar, where are you from? And you should know American, from America. Rari says, what is this? Ragirs, how much does it cost? Sadmidichar, where are you going? Sadaris, Sad Tchobrob, where do you live? And few words about Georgian supra and toasting. Supra is feast. It's really important tradition for Georgians, and toasting is important tradition. Toasting, it's kind of, for me, it's like a blessings and prayers, you know, which has specific role. So you start blessings or best good wishes for peace. So first toast is always for peace and freedom or something like big values. And then comes by order, if it's your birthday or wedding or whoever, you know, it's about you, your parents, your children. It depends how much you will stay on the supra. It could last hours. And every toast is accompanied by drinking. You see in the picture, right? But tradition is really amazing because it's a row of blessings when you wish best and pray for the good will and good wish, right? You always mention the dead people, whoever passed away, heroes who contributed to the life of and improvement of the life of the country, or for independence, and so on. So you could be creative as well as you want, and you need, depending who you have in that supra. You should know vino. This is wine, because Georgia is the cradle of wine. First wine, I mean, excavations has shown that from here comes first first tradition of preparing wine and grapes. Yeah. And you can really taste good wines here. Hachapuri, this is very traditional food you might taste here. Curd bread, ingali, tvadi, churchela, candle-shaped candy. It's again from grape juice, and it's never spoils. So in old Georgian, this was very high protein snack, which people were taking when they were going for fighting, you know, for away from home few months or days. And yeah, if it's really good, if it's natural made. Yes, I have one poem because I thought to read for you, but I have also link there. If you will take your time and listen how Georgian sounds. I always teach this poem because it repeats the words and it's easy to study and it's very musical, very well known 20th century poet, Kalaktion Tapice. And at the end, I added some references. I put my book reference there and image, but also whatever is available online for your Georgian studies, if you will be interested, or just browsing, and other, you know, main resources, and one web page for Georgian as foreign language. So I think it could be useful. Yeah. I think I can stop here, and maybe if you want, I can read, just tell me, or we can move to the question and answer portion as you decide what's better for you.
I'd love to hear you read it. Yeah.
Okay, I will read. Cari Chris, potlebi mihkrიან kardakar, kheta riks, kheta jars, rkalat khris, sadahar, sadahar. Isev წვიმს, ისევ თავს, ვერ გპოვებ ვერასდროს, შენი მეხატება დამდევს თან, ყოველთვის, ყოველ დროს, ყოველგან. შორიცა ნისლიან ფიქრებს წრის, კარი ქრის. So, yeah, use that YouTube link also. The artist is reading this poem. Maybe you like more that how this first time reads. So, yeah, that's how it sounds. And you see translation.
Thank you. Thank you, Nana.